Welcome to another edition of Fantasy News. I am your Goblin host, Daniel Greene, and today we have immediately a huge fantasy news right up front. Let's just dive into it. The release date for Stormlight Archive 4 has been confirmed. November 17th of 2020 has been posted everywhere, and that is the day you will be getting the fourth entry in the Stormlight Archive, assuming you want it and order it, delivered to your door. Although a lot of these deliveries, they come a little bit late, a little bit early, like around that time you'll get it. But I'm very excited to see this. It's awesome to see Brandon still cranking through this series at incredible speed. A lot of people have been pointing out that the working title for Stormlight 4, Rhythms of War, has not been attached to any of this marketing material. So does that mean they are changing it? Possibly, but not for sure. We have to kind of wait and see if they will end up renaming Stormlight Archive 4. If you want to know, as soon as that happens, be sure to subscribe to the channel because, of course, a Fantasy News will be released covering that if it does happen. Now, speaking of marketing and transitioning into some alternative marketing for an upcoming big fantasy TV show, we had Henry Cavill narrate some passages from a Witcher book with a few clips from the upcoming show coinciding along with it. So if you would like The Witcher to narrate to you a Witcher story, link, of course, right down there in the description to go check it out. He did a pretty good job, I would say. He hammed it up a bit, which makes sense, and they definitely shot this to be reminiscent of one iconic Witcher image from the games, so they're definitely paying homage to the games and the books here. Well done. I think they're doing a really good job of actually kind of appease both crowds here and bring them together, which I've seen happen more and more as we've gotten more and more from the upcoming Witcher show, especially those character pieces they released recently, where they had the actors kind of talking about their interpretation of these characters. I saw a lot of people who were specifically saying how they were hesitant before, specifically about Yennefer, saying after seeing this actress talk about it, they have a lot more faith in the upcoming show. So really hats off to the marketing for Witcher here. I'm a fan of what they've been doing, and the internet seems to largely agree with that sentiment. They're killing it. Sorry for the lower quality inserts here. We keep getting last minute updates, but a Witcher update I would consider very significant. And speaking of things to help fans rest at ease, the author of the Witcher series sat down with Netflix and answered a lot of questions about how he feels about the upcoming series. And they kind of showed their hand a little bit with some of the things they said, I feel like, oh, we're really focusing on short stories. Which short story do you look forward to being adapted? So it looks like they're really leaning into maybe having some short stories at least focused on at the beginning. And the Witcher author I've never seen interviewed in the physical being before. I've never seen him actually speak. And it was actually cool to see who he is, hear him talk. None of that was what I quite expected. He seems just like a happy older guy who's a bit excited and a bit nervous about his books being adapted. At least was the vibe I got. Let me know what you think about this one, because I thought it was actually like, wow, their marketing is really killing it. Can we just acknowledge that? It's really good. Transitioning into upcoming releases news, Orbit Books has acquired the rights to Goldilocks by Laura Lamb. Laura is a successful author who has published a couple stories that have been very well received. This includes Devils and Shattered Minds. I don't want to read the full synopsis for the Goldilocks here, the book that's coming down the road, but essentially a sci-fi thriller where they're trying to find a planet in a Goldilocks zone to help continue on humanity's survival by an all-female led mission. Very cool, and I'm excited to see this one coming down the road. Basically, any sci-fi thrillers have an immediate, yes from me. But transitioning into the internet will for always follow these people and boo and hiss with whatever they are involved in. That's just true now. The Game of Thrones showrunners are set to helm a Lovecraftian thriller for Warner Bros. Immediately, people are upset about it. Apparently, the internet just does not want these people to have a career anymore. So, maybe they'll be able to redeem themselves someday in some way, but I very much so doubt it with just the sheer level of hatred from a lot of fans that are still directed at these guys. But is it earned? Is it not? I'm not going to touch that right now. But in a very frustrating story for me to cover here today, a while ago, it was rumored and heavily kind of confirmed, but not really, that the Amazon Lord of the Rings show cast Will Poulter to be among its cast. Unfortunately, now the rumor is that he has left the project, due to it conflicting with other scheduling issues he has. Maybe he signed on to something contractually, was trying to get out of it to be in the Lord of the Rings show, and he couldn't, so now he's not going to be a part of it. But what's annoying is it was never confirmed, so it's like, well, maybe I should have never covered it, because this guy was in, then he's out, or maybe he wasn't. I hate covering rumors, and I'm probably going to be cutting down in the future, but I felt like I had to for this one, because it's following up something I previously covered. And in something that might actually divide people who some were looking forward to, some not, the live-action Akira adaptation has officially been removed from Warner Bros. Calendar. So, will it still be made? Possibly, but it doesn't look like for a long time, and no immediate action being taken. And just going ahead and getting the quickie news out of the way today, we had a look for Disenchantment Part 3. Part 2 I like not as much as Part 1, but Part 3 is coming down the road from the creator of The Simpsons and Futurama, so if you're interested in that, it's on Netflix. Go watch it right now. We also had another trailer drop for Dracula. Very much so a lot of the same footage as the first one, but there's some new stuff in there in case you're interested. And a clip was released for the upcoming Star Wars movie that has some heavy plot details. I won't show anything, even a screenshot of the webpage here, due to it just having spoilers and people being really sensitive to that for Star Wars. But yes, if you're interested in a pretty much longer clip that focuses around Kylo Ren, link right down there to check it out. Speaking of Star Wars, let's go ahead and talk about the small comments from J.J. Abrams that resulted in Twitter blowing up, which Twitter does if you like touch it. It's like the most sensitive explosive ever. Just boop. Basically, J.J. Abrams gave some very light criticism. It could even be say it wasn't really criticism of The Last Jedi, and that caused the people who defend The Last Jedi to just blow up on Twitter, and the people who don't defend it and hate it just kind of go at each other back and forth, and then eventually they started talking about the harassment issue. John Boyega got thrown under the bus because he made something that could be taken as criticizing one of his cast members, but I don't think by any stretch of the imagination what he actually was trying to do when you look at it in context. I don't care about any of this, but it's kind of big Star Wars news, so that's my really bad summation of what happened. Moving on. Jonathan Groff from Mindhunter has officially been cast in The Matrix 4, and yes, Keanu Reeves will be returning for this movie. And in the last bit of quickie news we're going to cover here today, a new BioShock video game has been announced to be in production. If you'd like to go check out the details, there's a link to an IG video down there that goes over the details if you want to watch an IG. It is also being reported that the Mortal Kombat movie has finished filming and will be released January 18th, 2021. So it's already being relegated to a January release. Not the best sign there. And in some upcoming fantasy video game news, we had a cinematic trailer drop for two different games. The first is Magic Legends, which looked pretty cool. It's an MMORPG, neat. And the second is an upcoming Dungeons & Dragons release, which is being called the spiritual successor of the original Dris Duor video games that came out a while back. It's not directly, you don't have to play those ones apparently to get this, which is pretty standard for the genre at this point. This game is predicted to release fall of 2020, which means it should be at least somewhat far down the creation path, which the cinematic did not look good at all, so I'm hoping they have something better than this, and they can. You're supposed to really wow people with your cinematic here, guys. Set the bar high. Video game fans have very big, very high expectations for cinematics now, and this just looked like close-ups of Sims. And in sci-fi fantasy content creator news, Denis Villeneuve is reportedly being named Filmmaker of the Decade by the Hollywood Critics Association. This is a fairly big piece of news here, not only because Denis Villeneuve has helmed some of the largest sci-fi films of the last decade, but he is also taking on the upcoming Dune adaptation. I know there's still some fans who seem a bit out with this one and don't want this Dune adaptation coming down the road, but with the cast, with literally chosen to be the best filmmaker of the past decade, and I don't think there's a whole lot of people who will think this is a bad choice who have seen what Denis Villeneuve will make. I mean, I'm all the more excited now to see what Dune is going to look like. We know for sure it'll at least look good because Denis Villeneuve's movies look simply incredible. Let's see what he can do with the sci-fantasy epic Dune. But this has been your latest episode of Fantasy News. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Hit the Patreon if you want to support what I do here. And join the Discord server if you'd like to submit news for me to talk about here in the future, or talk to other fantasy-loving fans that populate the server and have all the time just discussions about the books they love. Have a good one, y'all. Peace. And of course, I'd like to record a special shout out to my latest high tier Patreons, Good Apollo and Katie Jones. My other Patreons, the videos are coming out of order, so if you actually have one before these guys, it will be coming. Sorry, my videos are a bit jumbled right now. Love you all. Talk to you soon.